The internet is such a wonderful place. Not only can you find hours upon hours of unlimited entertainment and a library of information that is totally accurate 100% of the time, it's also a magical land where you can have deep and nuanced discussions with calm, rational, level-headed strangers about the issues you care about the most. Said absolutely no one ever. Because spend 5 minutes on a certain side of TikTok these days and suddenly you're knee-deep in a brain-dead echo chamber, getting called a broke hater for daring to suggest that maybe, just maybe, billionaires shouldn't exist while half the country can't afford health insurance. Welcome to Rich Talk, a TikTok subgroup that's rising in popularity where stupid people worship the 1% who wouldn't even piss on them even if they were on fire. Because apparently, boots taste so much better when they're Louis Vuitton, am I right? This crash out is brought to you by Blue Origin.
And then my question is, have y'all been to space? Have you been to space?
No, we got bills and shit.
I am a very anxious person. I grew up in a very unstable family, so I worry about everything. My future, my bank account, and whether the magnet on the fridge is slightly crooked and signaling the downfall of my entire life. But these days, I sleep like a baby because honestly, none of it matters, guys. None of it matters. Because when people who use Afterpay to buy groceries are defending billionaires like they're just quirky, relatable besties who, accidentally hoarded half the planet's wealth, we're like, I don't know what to tell you. We are just You see, rich people will never be relatable because the amount of wealth they have means that their lives are just fundamentally different. While us regular brokies live in the most volatile economic landscape of history and struggle with rising costs of housing, education, and groceries, the rich struggle to decide what shade of blue they want their spacesuits to be. So when I watch people living paycheck to paycheck, drowning in debt, one health scare away from financial ruin, bend over backwards to defend rich people, I can't even be mad anymore. Like, it is just cringe. It's like watching someone get mugged and stabbed, turn around and say, "Hey, leave that mugger alone. They worked hard for that knife." Hey, wait, didn't I make the knife? Embarrassing. Now, hating rich people as they completely destroy the planet, and all of us with it for their own amusement, is nothing new. But when everyday people start siding with the rich instead of recognizing how they're being exploited by them, any hope for a meaningful change dies a slow, stupid death. But hey, this is YouTube, baby! We're here to laugh and have fun despite the crushing weight of late-stage capitalism eroding our will to live. So let's see how some of these brokies applaud the rich for, quote-unquote, doing rich right.
On today's episode of Rich People Who Rich Right, we have Zozo's fits. When it comes to Zozo, I can't even explain to you the gasps that I gusp when I see her outfit pics, okay? On today's episode of Rich People Who Rich Right, let's talk about Johanna Dressage. This look is probably the bougiest look I have ever seen. It's a brown suede Birkin. The way she looks absolutely has an Hermes bag, okay? Every photo.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Rich people doing rich right is wearing designer clothes and not looking ugly. Got it! Like, forget the tax loopholes they exploit, the carbon footprint of their 4th private jet trip this month, or the fact they underpay you, their lowly worker. As long as they look cool doing it, they're doing amazing. Accounts like Rich People Doing Rich Right seem to be part of a growing trend of content that tries to romanticize the ultra-wealthy, presenting them as tasteful, modest, or even, dare I say it, admirable. All for, checks notes, having money. Yep, the bar is low for these people, folks. In fact, it's so low, it's underground. And rich people know this. Like, they absolutely know how little it takes to win people over. Like, I saw this TikTok featuring rich influencer Chloe L, and it was just basically hyping her up for being a stay-at-home daughter. Her content's all like,
every Monday morning I wake up so grateful that I don't have to go into the office and work a 9 to 5, so come spend a 9 to 5 with me as a fun employed stay-at-home daughter living in Singapore. Even though I am fun employed, I do try to be productive, so I squeezed in a little cryotherapy session because I really want to be a skinny queen by the time I'm summering in the south of France. I went home and I unboxed my new shoes, which I absolutely love, and that was my 9 to 5 as a stay-at-home daughter living in Singapore.
Every Monday morning, I wake up so grateful that I don't have to go into the office and work like you pathetic little peasants. Instead, I try to be productive. And by productive, I mean I lie in a human freezer so I can lose weight without moving. Because God forbid I break a sweat like the rest of you disgusting commoners. Praising Chloe for being a stay-at-home daughter is basically a quirky way of saying you're happy she does nothing but spends her family's money. Like, it's so out of touch. And believe it or not, you can find Chloe in the comments of her being featured in these rich doing rich right videos being like, such an honor to be in your series. I'm such a huge fan. Like, what? You do nothing. Nothing! A few people in the comments pointed out that the TikTok she made was just a joke, but babes, they are not laughing with us. They are laughing at us. We are the joke. But I think the biggest joke of all is that Chloe is just the appetizer in this little crash out buffet of ours. Oh, you thought Chloe was the richest, most out of touch girl on social media? Hell no. There's a bigger fish to fry, a wealthier, more out of touch influencer that keeps popping up in these rich doing rich right videos, and much to my own frustration, my For You page. And that's our main course, Becca Bloom. If you've never heard of Becca Bloom, she's a socialite influencer who sort of skyrocketed to 2 million followers on TikTok in only a couple months. But rather than trying to sum her up myself, I think I'll let her do it.
Hi guys, I realize most of you don't know me yet, so today I'm gonna do a little get to know me session. So I'm from the Bay Area, from a little small town called Atherton.
Small town called Atherton? Girl, Becca calling Atherton a small town is saying like you grew up in a cozy little cabin, but the cabin is Buckingham Palace. The people who live in Atherton are so disgustingly rich, they threw a tantrum when the California government told them they needed to build some apartments. So, you know, the people who scrub their toilets might actually be able to live within 30 miles of where they work.
You know the phrase, not in my backyard. That is the response of dozens of Atherton residents to a proposed affordable housing project there.
So yeah, Becca Bloom isn't just rich, she's that kind of rich.
I want to give my parents as much privacy as possible, but obviously they're extremely successful and they're both entrepreneurs working in tech and real estate.
For someone who wants to give their parents as much privacy as possible, it's a bit ironic you broadcast your entire rich girl persona to millions. Because when your family's that wealthy, people will find out who they are whether you name drop them or not. For example, Becca Bloom's real name is Rebecca Ma, and her parents are billionaires Simon Yiming Ma and Heidi Chu. They own a private Chinese fintech company called Camelot Enterprise Systems. And if you dig only a tad bit deeper, you'll find that the company is incorporated under the laws of the British Virgin Islands. Now, if you don't know much about business or how the ultra wealthy on this planet operate, you might be wondering why that matters. Well, the British Virgin Islands isn't just a cute little vacation spot, it's a giant international loophole. Rich people love it because it basically lets them dodge taxes, hides who really owns what, and skip out on rules that the rest of us brokies have to follow. It's basically a cheat code for staying rich and keeping their money far away from the government. And by the government, I mean us. Because when they don't pay taxes, we're the ones left doing that for them. So yeah, super relatable. Becca Bloom and rich people like her presenting themselves as relatable or self-made is honestly laughable, because the idea that someone can amass billions and still be ethical or humble is a myth. Yet somehow social media is full of intellectually challenged people who convince themselves otherwise.
I am sure you know Becca by now. I have some things to say because Becca is actually brilliant. Her aura is just so calm and humble and grounded, and yet she comes from extreme wealth. She could be like so flashy, so out of touch, but she's like somehow still feels like so in touch with society.
Becca is flashy. Becca is out of touch. The entire premise of her content is just showing off how rich she is.
This is a blue Patek with little diamonds on the side. It'll show either like the star or the sun if you look closely. Stars in the evening or a sun during the day. This is how it looks next to my day-to-day. Please don't judge me for this, but I fell in love with the laptop case, but they don't make it in my 15-inch size. It's only in 14-inch. So I decided to buy a new laptop.
Like, girl, that isn't humble. It's tone deaf. Becca's level of casual excess in a world where people are like literally rationing insulin, skipping meals, or working 3 jobs to survive is no reason to clap.
I think everyone is obsessed with Becca Bloom, including myself. She not only grew up into a rich family, she's marrying a rich man, and she's also rich herself because she has a good job and she is still working, despite clearly not needing to.
Such a low bar to praise extremely rich people for, and one that really explains the disconnect between normal people and people who praise Becca. The fact that Becca works despite not needing to just highlights the privilege that she has that we don't. I mean, the last time I checked, you and I have to work. We don't get to make work our fun little hobby. And also, let's be real, her job is and will never be the same as ours. Becca gets to sit in board meetings making big company decisions and buy thousands of dollars of jewelry on her lunch break, while you sit in a cubicle working overtime for her, wondering why you won't get a raise. Her work comes with power, equity, and influence. Yours comes with burnout, wage stagnation, and maybe a pizza party, if you're lucky.
Becca Bloom, the new darling of TikTok. She happens to be ultra wealthy. Ultra. Do you blame that girl that that's her life? No, people. There are stratospheres in the world.
Oh, stratospheres. So that's why Katy Perry went to space. To be clear, we're not criticizing her for being born rich. We're criticizing her for turning wealth into content, expecting applause for it, while the rest of us are stuck dealing with the problems her money helps her avoid. We're also criticizing the people who eat it all up, bending over backwards to make her seem relatable just because she films herself buying things. Like, please, no need to be poor and dumb.
There are different levels in life, and you have to appreciate and respect all of them.
Acknowledging that there are different levels in life and saying that
you have to appreciate and respect all of them.
It's not the flex you think it is. It's honestly the most unhinged thing I've heard in regards to rich people. What you're basically saying is that poor and working class people need to stay in their place and accept their suffering, while wealthy people at the top should be admired for simply existing. You're dumb. I think we all want to believe that in a world where we get stomped on by the rich pretty much every day, there's at least one rich person out there who's different, someone we can root for. But the truth is, the Chloes and Beccas of the world do not give a fuck about brokies like you and I beyond the likes and comments that we leave on their pages. So to the people who follow rich influencers who do rich right and leave comments that they're relatable, humble, and that people are just jealous for critiquing the wealthy, have a little bit more self-respect, you know? Have a little bit more self-respect. Because the gap between rich people and us isn't something to accept and even applaud. It's something that makes things pretty bad for the rest of us. I'm gonna call it there, folks. I would love to hear your opinions on this topic, and whether you agree with me or not, I hope you find a quarter on the ground today. Bye!